So you finished your Mandalorian helmet. I don't think it's quite finished yet. Hey guys, welcome back to Imperfect Builds. I'm Levi. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be making a visor for this Mandalorian helmet. I'm going to show you guys how to make the most affordable visor that you can do at home in less than 30 minutes. This is what you're going to need for your visor. So if you want to pause the video, check them out and make sure you have everything you need. Alright guys, so we've got an X-Acto knife, some scissors, some blank stencil sheets. They're pretty malleable, but they're stiff enough to where you can form them and stick them into position. Spray bottle and a squeegee. It's pretty thin, pretty clear. I'd advise that you do all the squeegeeing on the back side where it's clear plastic so you don't have any scratch marks on the tin. Make sure there's nothing on it. Make sure it's clean. So you're gonna go ahead and measure out just over the side of the stencil sheet. You're not gonna have to use much. And then you can either use scissors or an X-Acto knife. So I'm gonna lay it down flat, get it nice and wet. You wanna soak it. Doesn't matter how much water you use, honestly, the more the better. This is gonna allow you to be able to move the window tint without it getting stuck in one place and allow you to work all the air bubbles out of it. Once you're done, and you work all the water you can out of it, you can set it in the sun and the sun will evaporate the rest of the water. All right, so now peel the back off your window tint. So I like to get one edge peeled here, lay that edge that I put my fingers all over off, and then as I move it, you just slide it off to the side and get that plastic out, throw that aside. Now, I take this and flip it over. That way you're working on the back side when you're squeegeeing and you're not using the front side to use the squeegee on, so you don't have to worry about it scratching it and causing some scratches on your visor where everybody's going to be seeing them. So take your squeegee now and you're going to start to work that water out. Take your time with this. Make sure you get as much water out as possible. Nothing's perfect. Don't forget that. It's never going to be perfect. Don't always expect perfect results. If you ever feel like a bump as you're laying it, don't force it, because that means there's either something underneath your tint or in between the film and the plastic that can cause a problem and actually tear through the tint and make it look bad. So just if you feel a bump, look underneath the tint. Make sure you're not pushing against a solid object. Now that we've got a decent amount of the water worked out, we can take a pair of scissors and go ahead, either scissors or I like to use an X-Acto knife to the edges, and you can just cut straight down the sides to get most of the excess off. I'm not right up against the edge on this, so I'm gonna be cutting just straight down the sides of this. So now that that's done, so now I'm actually cutting the stencil out. I'm just cutting the edges. That way I have a perfect fit, because we're gonna cut this down some more at the end anyways. Don't worry if you get a little air bubbles in there, that's okay. Now we're gonna work the rest of the water out. So now that we've got our stencil done, it's tinted, we can move over to the helmet. Okay, for this part, right, you're gonna make your stencil pretty much that you need so you can cut it out properly. With this, take your helmet, and I wouldn't do it on the outside just so you don't screw up any of the paint. But you can take the Scotch tape, and I would overlap on the sides and in the front if you're doing a Mandalorian helmet, just a little bit, so you have room to glue the helmet in or Velcro it in, however you're gonna do it, but I'll show you how I'm gonna put mine in the helmet. So you're gonna wanna take a nice strip of tape, get it in there along your edges here, make sure it's flat and doesn't have a lip on it, just like that. Take another piece, lay it down the front. So I like to lay mine right on the flat edges here. So now you're gonna remove the tape, take it straight out of the helmet. Now you take the tape and you can go just like this. Just that easy. Now you're ready to cut it out. What I would advise, right, is to use a straight edge. I have this giant 90 angle edge here. Stick it just off the edge of the tape. You can always take away, you can never add to. So I would always take a little bit more than what you think you need. That way you can cut it down a little bit if you need to. That way you don't cut it too short and you have to do everything over again. So this is when your X-Acto knife is going to come in handy, because this allows you to really just cut the edges out without having to lift up the scissors, and you can keep the angle right here. So now you can move over. All right. Okay. So now you have it cut out. Exactly what you need. You can peel the tape off. Now you can work out any water that's still left in, and there you go. Now you have a visor. So now you just take the helmet, make sure you have it nice and it fits in good. So I obviously have to trim the bottom. And now you have a visor for your helmet. Now you can stick that thing in there however you want to, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be using little strips of Velcro. As you can see, I'm cutting them here. I'm going to pretty much be placing them in all the corners there at the bottom. You can see I'm sticking 2 on each side, and then that's why we cut the visor a little wide so it overlapped, so we're able to stick some pieces of Velcro on the front of the visor and they will stick to the Velcro. So we've got all the Velcro in place. You can see on each corner has a piece of Velcro. Put some right there at the top as well. There at the bottom corner, and then there's 2 in the middle there. They're kind of hard to see. But this is how the helmet came out, with the visor stuck into position with the Velcro. I really like this stencil type of plastic because it's moldable and it's not too stiff, so it presses up against the lips of the helmet. Alright guys, so there's the visor, it's in the helmet. Super simple to make, only took about 30 minutes. With this visor here, I used a different tint. It's a little darker, not as shiny. I really like this tint because, as you can see, it's really reflecting the light really good, and I don't know, it looks really clean. I like this one too. I ordered a different branded tint on Amazon, and this is the one that came, and I actually really like it a lot. So I'm gonna link all the things you're gonna need. I'm gonna list them down in the description. I'm gonna link the tint and the plastic sheets that I use that you can find on Amazon. So check out the description and you can find it down below. I didn't put in the Velcro into that first picture because I only included what you would want to use for making the actual visor. But for installing the visor, I did use Velcro inside the helmet. Reasoning for that is that if I ever want to change the visor out, or if I want to switch to a gold visor, I don't know. It just gives me more freedom of doing things and switching things out and just customizing the helmet a little bit. So that's the reason I've used Velcro instead of glue. I wouldn't use hot glue with this visor just because it can possibly warp the plastic, because it's such thin plastic. If it gets too hot, it can melt it. So it's definitely, don't use a heat gun to try to get the air to dry out of it. Trust me, I tried. It warps the plastic, does not look good. Learn from my mistakes. And so we got some awesome things coming up here on the channel. I don't want to give away too much, it's kind of a surprise, but I'm excited to show you guys what's coming. I think you're gonna love it. So thank you guys again for watching. Nothing's perfect, take your time with this. I love you guys. Don't forget, perfection's overrated.